I am the beginning of America, the Port Royal habitation, oldest white settlement north of the Gulf of Mexico. I am the dark green highlands that rise from the sea, where first the continent of North America was touched. I am the myriad coves whose bastions of rock offer shelter for those who venture into the sea wind. I am the bridge forged to throw a road across the skies and link two shores. I am the magnificent, the Maggie, affectionate symbol of the bond between air and sea. I am Manudi, where shad are harvested from airborne nets by wagon. I am the red cliffs of Minas, where the basin walls restrain the highest of the earth's tides. I am Grand Pre, historic setting of tragedy, where Acadians meet in common pilgrimage. I am the sound of marching feet, echoing across the long centuries. I am the site of 1,000 signal lights, marking headland and harbor. I am a land stretching out from Citadel Hill, where the tales are many to tell of life and living. The tales of the sea begin in the early light, when the ear tells more of the coming day than the eye. In the soft half-light, the distant beat of the surf, the rhythm of motors, the metallic sound of invisible hands arranging gear have special significance. The sounds ebb and flow until the last fisherman has left port and the last light has flickered out on shore. The great tides of the Bay of Fundy make possible a unique method of fishing. Gill nets, staked to the ocean floor, are covered at high tide, trapping shad. When the water recedes, the catch is left high in the sea air to await harvesting. No time is lost in collecting the shad. The 1,000-foot-long nets are almost 2 miles from shore, and the road over the bare ocean bed is hazardous. The onrushing tide, sweeping in to fill the basin to a height of 28 feet in 6 hours, may overtake a careless fisherman. Salt water can swirl around horse, wagon, and fisherman before safety is reached. The men who look to the sea must first look to the ships. Along the 4,600-mile coastline, in marine dockyards and on seaside ways, the work of building boats and ships goes forward. The materials and methods have changed, but the ancient skills remain. The skeleton frameworks are slowly transformed into vessels that one day are sent down the slips to prove their seaworthiness. the highways of the sea, another voyager has been added. The land that the sea binds has a unique beauty. From innumerable high vantage points, the orchards and fields extend to blue-mottled horizons. In the valleys, the oxen still bend their powerful shoulders to the yoke, reminders of a day when a man's hands and beasts were his only help in subduing the frontiers. The towns that grew and prospered under the salty sun developed individual characteristics. Annapolis Royal built its ancient charm around the antiquity of 300-year-old Fort Anne. The town of Digby, home port of the Scallop Fleet and terminus of the Fundy Ferry, uses its high and low tide dock to berth other visitors from the deep sea. A true saltwater playground, it dispenses a full measure of maritime hospitality. Yarmouth, with its face set towards New England, is proud of its role as official greeter. Cheticamp displays its impressive cathedral like a huge toy on the coastal plains. At Louisburg, the leveled walls, which were once 30-foot ramparts enclosing a 100-acre city, tell of the glory that was France. Spanish Bay was the original name for Cape Breton's greatest seaport. But the first governor of the island wished to pay tribute to the colonial secretary by renaming the city in his honor. And so, as Sydney, the community grew to become the second city in the land. Here in this maritime city lies a surprise. The largest self-contained steel plant in America. Out of the maw of a dozen fiery hearths pours 500,000 tons of molten steel each year. The crash and thunder of its huge furnaces as they digest their menu of iron and scrap metals is duplicated in the foundries and machine shops. Silhouetted against the sparkling crystal of the harbor, Halifax looks every inch its part as warden of the shipping lanes. A city of monuments to the past, its active spirit is overflowing its old channels and creating new paths and projects. The ancient role of Halifax is never better shown than when the Atlantic Fleet is at home. On Naval Day, the destroyers turn from exercises to play. On the skill of their boat racing crews, the honor and prowess of the fighting ships momentarily rests. For one day of the year, the Navy belongs to the sailor and the proud people of Halifax. The more up-to-date image of Canada's East Coast port is reflected in the sights and sounds of shearwater. At this training center, the new look of efficiency is shown in the dress of its young men and the sound of prop and jet engines. But the real forward surge of Halifax is seen in its building program. With the opening of the Angus L. MacDonald Bridge, the city forged a direct link with Dartmouth, its neighboring town. With its main towers rising more than 300 feet into the skies, the new testimonial to transport is a remarkable piece of engineering. Travel and commerce have literally taken to the air across the busy harbor. Much of the glamour of a port rests in its great ships. The fascination of following the aircraft carrier Magnificent into home port is an experience to be enjoyed on each occasion. The standing salute of the seamen, the deceptive energy of the tiny tugs, express part of the spell of naval tradition. To visitors, the surprise of Halifax is the charm of its public gardens. Under the magic of spring and summer, the trees and shrubs blossom, the colors come alive, and a fresh, vivid world of romance is created. The soft, salt breezes flowing in from the ocean beyond seem to temper the fragrance. The countryside surrounding the towns has a bribery of its own. When the days turn warm, the backwoods and quiet streams set their lures. The relaxation that comes from a dipping paddle and the harmony that sings from voiceless objects bestows remedies that cannot be packaged. The rod and reel fraternity can indulge their every fancy, be it inland fly fishing, surf casting, or deep sea fishing. The choices are nearby and exciting. In a land where there are no leased waters, fishing is reserved for fishermen. Not all water sports offer a solid footing for their enjoyment. The practice of log rolling is recommended only to those who like their sport chin high. Then there are those who exercise their sportsmanship in a more mechanical way.